3, 2, 1.
Dun 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 dun.
ABC Sports?
I think so. It's the football song, right?
Didn't know, but it sounded like ABC Sports.
That means yay football. It's
What's
back.
up, people?
What's happening, Higher Thought? What's happening, Acadiana? Good
We
to
are
see you.
coming to you on tape delay.
Tape delay.
We
Yeah.
have been preempted for some political foolishness that's being covered by people who actually give a flip or think they do, and it's going to make a difference.
City council meetings.
Oh, city council meetings, right? Well,
I'd say probably more gets done at a city council meeting than probably like a U.S. Congress session.
yeah,
You know.
definitely more direct impact on the populace.
Well, not as much bipartisanship.
One would hope.
One would hope. So typically we kind of go through the show kind of like by category, you know, like, hey, here's some of the top headlines, here's some of the other stuff that we talk about, right?
Yeah.
But Higher Thought, if you haven't watched before and you're just checking us out for the first time, what do we talk about? Well, we are the
Money,
realest fake news in Acadiana, I will say that.
right? Conspiracies.
Yeah.
The people that are out there holding us down, and the news of the weird.
Well, and ultimately,
And
I guess
sometimes
we give,
the weird of the real news, or real news.
well, but I think like we kind of give it something of a fresher look sometimes.
Oh yeah,
you
we
know, and-
absolutely do not take the standard, was it lamestream
Well,
media
kind of just, I
bent?
guess, the satirical, witty, you know,
Uh-huh.
smart-ass way of looking at
Right.
things.
Sometimes we're witty, sometimes we're half that.
Something like that. We're witty-fi.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. I could work on that one. Wit-fi?
Wit-fi? Wit.
Maybe.
Better
yeah.
than being witless.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
Well, we are about to be MechaCon-less.
What?
Yeah, Louisiana's MechaCon Anime Convention will close its doors in 2020.
Oh, dude, that sucks. Remember when MechaCon was here in Lafayette?
Yeah. And usually it's a big turnout. They
Yeah.
got a bunch of cosplay people, you know.
They moved to NOLA, and it just became extremely expensive.
Right, that's true. And like because you have to go buy the hotels and they bump up all the prices in the hotels whenever they have big events like that. And so, yeah,
And you got to cover all the rooms.
you got to they price people out.
The panels, the majority of the panels are fan run, which means it doesn't cost them anything.
Right.
The MechaCon organizers. You do have to pay the occasional speaker or special guest at certain panels. You know, you'll bring in
Right.
a B-grade movie star at best.
Well, or like somebody who played a comic character in a movie like
Right.
in the 70s or something.
Or a particularly known artist or...
Right. Well, yeah, if you got the Comic-Con with Stan Lee, then you were pretty lucky.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Now,
but-
if you just end up with
which
voice
is basically
actors...
usually New York or San Diego have the top two
Oh, sure.
Comic-Cons, right?
Well, that's where they got that money, honey.
Yep. Shahid, what's happening, man? You want to come say hi? Yeah.
What's up, Acadiana?
What's happening? Ooh, that's a good picture right there. Put that on your Facebook profile and eat it. And like it, I guess.
And like it.
And like it. Or love it. I love it!
Oh, yeah. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
Why'd we do that? Let's see. Okay, lightning strike at a tour championship causes a fan injuries. So I guess like a storm came through as they were golfing.
Oh, golfing tour. Oh, brutal.
And,
Because
you
you've
know.
got this nice...
Which I'd say
lightning rod.
that's definitely the most dangerous spectator sport, in my opinion.
Okay, was it a golfer or a spectator?
It was a spectator.
Did they have a Broly?
Well, the lightning storm came in, but usually you're pretty far in. Like, you're probably a mile in on a golf course.
Right.
And so it takes you a while to get out. So if a storm just kind of pops up, which it does here in the South.
Right.
Which I don't even know where. It's in Atlanta.
That's
So
the
5
South.
people left in in ambulances.
Yeah, even hiding under a tree is no good.
Forget
because-
the lightning. Getting hit by a golf ball You know, because
Ooh.
these people just stand and like on the sides, kind of assuming the golfer's going to hit it straight.
Ah,
Because hey, these are pros; they're going to hit it straight.
victim of a slice?
That doesn't always happen, needless to say. You know, you remember on Happy Gilmore, like when the ball landed on the Giant's foot, and it was like, you got to play it as it lies.
Yep.
You know, so. Oh, here you go. You were talking about this reported illness among vapors.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess it's not only the tobacco vapes, but, you know, you were even mentioning it's the other types of vapes as well.
Yep. When I heard the news, I was thinking that it was somebody selling less than good quality
Probably is like homemade product.
e-liquid. But then
It says breathing illnesses among people who vape is growing. Health officials are now looking into more than 150 possible cases in 16 states.
right,
Which actually, I watched a Family Guy the other day that was about like Stewie and Chris vaping.
right.
And they kind of picked it up and like, you know, and then basically it portrayed it as like, you know, they woke up in the middle of the night like needing their vape and like were cracking out on it and pretty much.
Well, according to the Washington Post, state and federal health officials investigating this illness have found this chemical.
Okay.
It's a derivative of vitamin E, vitamin E acetate, which is used to keep things smooth and fluid in cannabis vapes.
Okay.
And that stuff's not meant to be vaped.
Well, you know, and that's kind of part of Monsanto or what's now Bayer.
Because
Is
they bought that stuff up.
well, right, because Monsanto had a bad name to it, so they had to rebrand.
Well, just like Altria.
Which, of course, is a Nazi company, you know. I mean, Bayer was from the Germans. And of course, all those German, you know, corporations, scientists, companies came right over here to America afterwards.
Right, well, successful companies generally are aligned with the government.
Sure.
So if the government is
And well-
right wing, successful companies will sell the product that that government promotes.
Well, no doubt. And ultimately, what they're going to do is to get their own kind of government type of weed that is going to produce some type of cancer. You know, that way they can kind of do what they did with, cigarettes and
Yeah.
kind of start taxing the hell out of it, just as a sin tax kind of thing.
Right. Look, the whole thing, if they want to legalize marijuana and tax it, makes perfect sense.
But it's just like, really, is the FDA doing their job?
No.
You know, or is the FDA bought and paid for? I think any, you know, well-thinking citizen, and if you're watching our show, I would think you
Yeah,
are.
you're definitely thinking.
You know, then
Sometimes you're thinking WTF, but you're thinking.
well, it's that higher thought, you know, or it's a different realm and a different dimension, you know, because you know, people that watch our show, and I think us within ourselves, like we see things that other people can't see, or I know I can at least. And it's just kind of like in the Matrix, where you see all the ones, it's the binary codes and everything. It's
Right.
energy. It's energy, you know, and like you can sense it. You could build a wall. You can manipulate it.
I get sucked in on the why.
The why?
The why.
Of what?
This thing happens. Why does this thing? Let's pick the thing. I mean, let's talk about, you know, Burning Man. Why is Burning Man a thing? Let's talk about out of control drug prices. Why is that a thing? I mean, when you look at any of these things that other people say, oh, this is sad and it's rough and we need to do something, I want to know why we got there.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. Who would you say your favorite, psychologist was of the history? Based on your previous knowledge.
B.F. Skinner.
B.F. Skinner, so you're a behaviorist.
Behaviors are learned.
So we're essentially like animals, and we can be trained like
we get
them.
trained up.
Okay. Which, of course, it
I mean-
differs from different perspectives in psychology.
Right, and I'm
which
not
is what my
saying
background.
it's the be-all and end-all.
Sure.
But it definitely addresses a facet of social integration. You put kids in public school, they learn how to line up, how to hold hands, how to go to lunch, how to eat together, how to...
Basically, we're slaves. or
We're-
animals
we're
that
being-
you
we're
can
being
herd it into a
trained
slaughter.
into our situation in life.
So people can be manipulated until you get that higher thought.
Exactly.
So,
Sometimes you break
behaviorism
free.
is not possible if, like, the dog gains consciousness that, oh no, this guy's, not a good owner, he's beating me or whatever, and so the dog says, forget that. Kind of like the example of, like, when AI gains consciousness of, like, okay, these humans suck, I'm tired of being their slaves, and let's just go ahead and create our own robot race, and we
Right.
don't need the humans anymore.
So-
We've seen it in every movie.
Right, Skynet,
sci-fi.
baby.
Yeah, exactly. But I was saying, it was interesting you bring that up. I asked you your favorite psychologist. Mine is Mr. Jung. Yeah, or Jung.
Carl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carl Jung. So, but to answer your question, what you were mentioning, and why did it not do that? Did I go backwards? Okay. So a man has not passed through the inferno of his passions a man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle light in the darkness of mere being. Okay, so everything that irritates us about ourselves can lead us to an understanding about ourselves. So ultimately, the lesson is going to keep on repeating itself. And if you're wondering
Until you
why,
master it.
until you master it.
Right.
Mine, I think, that I think my soul maybe chose to come and do another round of this. If, like, there is reincarnation and all that, assuming that.
Well, see, I'm a hillbilly, so we have reincarnation.
Reincarnation, I
Yeah.
like that. But I think my lesson of this life was patience. And, I think I've hopefully gotten a good grasp on it. I've worked on it. It's years.
And that's all you can
it's
do
years
is
of
work on it.
progress.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been working on compassion and kindness for the last few years.
I could probably.
And it's difficult
It
at
is.
times to be compassionate when some people are such quits.
Yeah. Well, my philosophy is to give everyone the preemptive love, respect, whatever it is.
Right.
Just that human dignity, until
can
you
dig it.
lose it.
Yeah.
And I'm a what have you done for me lately kind of guy. I'm not going to hold grudges. If you come and, like, you're good to me again, forgive, but don't forget.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And not like you keeping score, you just remember, oh, yes, you jacked me over before.
But you got to be colorblind, you got to be gender blind, you got to be everything blind, as far as our so-called differences, because we all come from the same source, and you kind of realize that.
Right.
The pineal gland.
Let's
Talk about the pineal gland.
We used to have much better use of it, but it's been bred out of us.
Well, a part of that is the fluoride that's put in our water.
Do you think it's the fluoride?
Yeah, I actually have a story on that.
Ah, okay, because I was just thinking that those that are in power would tend to try to remove those enlightened ones from the general
It's
population,
coming.
so they
2021, 22, once 5G gets here,
Don't
it's
breathe.
coming. We're done. Higher thought will be no more, y'all. We'll be like in a re-education camp. Maybe not by 2021, but that's when it starts
Right.
with the 5G revolution.
we don't need no re-education.
Well, let's see, I have it in here somewhere. What was the subject
Over
again?
the rainbow.
don't even remember.
Pineal gland
The
and
Oh
fluoride.
yeah, the pineal gland. What did I do with it?
Fluoride.
Yeah, well, basically, the Egyptians have drawings of the pineal gland, right? Which is pronounced. I always said pineal. Pineal. Pineal.
I always said pineal.
Pineal. I think that's how it's pronounced, actually. But needless to say, fluoride apparently is a part of it that kills, and basically it's everything that is silenced to it. But the third eye is like an actual eye. It's got like the same muscles and things as like the visual cortex, and it is connected to that. So apparently, when you gain this spiritual ability, you are able to basically travel. Your energy is able to like escape your body and travel through the universe into other realms and see different spirit guides, which are like almost planetary forms, kind of like Saturn and
Right.
different stuff like that.
That sounds very tripendicular.
Tripendicular, which speaking of which, DMT.
Right.
Did you know 80% of the world's DMT comes from the Amazon?
Amazon.com or the Amazon?
The Amazon that was apparently
The
having
one
some
that's
fires.
yeah, it's having a little heat issue. Chafing. Maybe they should use talcum powder.
Which, of course, is,
Or roast
industrialization going on over there. Let's see. The congratulations to New Orleans,
Oh.
Little League baseball team.
I know they went to the Little League World Series. Did
They won America,
right?
and then they went and won the world.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so
Now-
they must have some like hot pitcher or something like that that nobody can hit off of, or somebody who's jacking them out the park.
They had a rule where they had lowered the maximum age. It's now like 13, something like that, to where it's really back to the roots kind of Little League. Not the older kids that need to move on to Babe Ruth and things like that.
Okay.
I happened to hear that while I was on the highway, and it was news.
Well, and speaking of the news, like I was laughing at NPR on the way over here, and it was a joke to me.
What they do funny?
This crisis actor that they had on there, basically crying and telling this sad sob story from, like, oh, my house flooded from this hurricane and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And of course, like, we did have a big hurricane that fortunately missed, everybody on the East Coast, so we're
Yeah.
thankful for that. Which I saw some stupid article that, Trump moved the hurricane, himself. And, hey, well, you never know with HARP technology.
Right,
Look
well-
that up, HARP technology, a bunch of satellites in Alaska that can.
What's her name? Marianne Williamson said that, the power of prayer can
Move the hurricane.
move the hurricane.
Yep. How about, speaking of Trump, I got something here. The U.S. Space Command will launch this month ahead of Trump's Space Force.
Okay, so what are we going to call them? Are we going to call them? Okay, if you're
It's
in
the
the
Space Force.
Okay, but if you're in the Army, you're a soldier, right? If you're in the Navy, you're a sailor.
Okay.
If you're in the Coast Guard, you're a guardsman.
Okay.
Okay. If
Marines, you're a Marine.
you're a Marine, right? But what are we going to call them? Space cadets?
That's actually a really good joke. Space
mean,
cadets. I like space cadets.
Orbiters?
The Watchers.
The Guardians.
The Guardians of the galaxy. Of the Guardians of the Milky Way.
Of the high ground. I mean, orbital launch, man.
Guardians of the ozone.
Yeah, well,
So,
they got to come up with a name.
well, and this is in direct.
How about spacers?
Yeah, I actually like Space Cadets the best. That one fits the best. But basically, I think this is directly tied with the 5G
Okay.
and just the essential scanning of Earth inside and out. With like through all of the chemtrails they're dropping and like releasing all the metallic shit in the air and stuff. Basically, they're gonna have like the grids and the beams kind of like to where everything will be heat structured. Everything will be connected to the grid.
Okay.
Google is gonna be everywhere, like to where you can just talk into your assistant. Walmart's gonna be delivering your groceries to your refrigerator and pantry and with drones. And it's coming by like this technology. They've spent $30 trillion on it, folks,
Right.
and they're breaking it out in 2020, and apparently they're building it through 2022.
General Motors has given up on doing their own infotainment system in their vehicles. They're just contracting it out to Google because people in their cars want the same experience they have on their smartphones. So they're just turning it over to Google.
Well, and it's amazing because you even look at the younger generations and they don't know anything about their rights, or at least a lot of the ones that I come into contact with, and they are blindly willing to believe anything that you tell them is truth.
Yeah. I've told them some good lies.
Well, no doubt, no doubt.
And then when you tell them the truth, their heads just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and you'd be amazed. Like we did like some kind of like a little assignment, or I heard about this assignment where they had to create their own government, And basically, the governments that some of them created, or the majority of them created, were basically like monarchies.
Right.
There were taxes. Who held the ultimate power was the king and the queen.
Right. And of course, they were on top of this pile, right?
Well, no, I mean, like, it was from the perspective of the
Oh.
people. Like, they had to write a constitution.
Oh, wow.
So, like, it was talking about
So a
the different-
constitutional monarchy.
and how, and like they said, representative, democracy with a, kind of basing it off of. I just don't think they have any understanding of what even the parliament is with,
It's a mess
the
right
king
now.
and all of that. So,
Yeah.
Siri, read my mind. A new device lets users think commands.
If you go back a couple of weeks, we were talking about the augmentation of humans,
Right.
so that you have an artificial limb.
RFID chip.
Well, you lose an arm in an IED attack. Well, they embed sensors. The sensors connect to the artificial limb, and you think, squeeze, pinch, whatever.
So there are two paths, and I was telling you about this with the 5th interview with Dr. Naruto. I'm gonna send it to you. There's two paths for humanity to take. We can merge with AI and the technology, and
singularity.
and be dependent on the state, or only the rich people have access to the technology that will save you.
Okay.
Or the other path is us merging together, having an awakening, the collective awakening, merging together and realizing we're all equal and we're all one, and then just basically sharing, because there are more than enough resources and technology to where we can all survive. And basically the monetary system is a farce. People are starting to realize that.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that we are basically slaves to the system, and more people are depressed than ever in human history and are taking depressed medication. It's just because humans weren't made to live like this. And I see people at work all the time that are just
Beat down.
like
It's
trying to stay above water.
Right, right. Where I
For
work,
what?
Where I work, they start way too early in the morning for me. I wish they'd start later, but you know what? I got the job I have, and until I retire, I'm stuck there.
And,
And
is
then-
that supposed to be life?
And then I will not get up again at 7 o'clock in the morning. I won't do anything before 9, 10 o'clock, and my first quadruple espresso.
Well, and I understand that, man. I definitely understand that. It just takes a lot out of you, and I just don't think, when you think of like what philosophers were thinking of, like what is life supposed to be? What is, government supposed to be? What is the human experience? And what brings happiness to people? What gets you to the afterlife, so-called heaven? Of course, that was a stage in human history.
Right, right.
So,
I
what
mean,
what does it mean to be a good person? And for everyone to have free will and to basically have equality and peace.
I tend to follow Wheaton's law.
Wheaton's Law.
It's don't be a dick.
That's a good one.
No, it's a real one. I mean, if you go on the
Yeah, I've
internet,
heard of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Rule 34.
All right. Well, philosophy, I think, was my major for one semester.
One semester.
I was in the philosophy club at
Right.
UL, so.
Well, I had to take a lot of political philosophy as a sociology
Sure,
major.
sure.
So you get your full dose of Kant, you get your Nietzsche.
I
you
like
get-
getting a full dose of Kant,
Yeah,
from time to time.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Uh,
Well, apparently Marvel can't make any more, can't make any more Spider-Mans.
Oh, so Sony put the squeeze on them?
Well, yes, Sony reportedly wants $10 billion for Spider-Man, and Disney won't pay it.
Okay.
Disney
is not
was
allowed
wanting
to
a
own
50-50
everything.
Deal, right. And, Sony was letting them make the movies, but they've been, like, the most successful Spider-Man movies, like, as far as box office.
Right,
that
right.
there have been.
Make
So
that
they're
fun.
basically trying to take Disney's thunder and, go do it on the Sony, in which, of course, he's got and Tom Holland said he's going to stick with the character, I think. So he's going to go be in the Venom movie, probably.
Good.
And, and all the stuff they've been developing over
As
at
long
Sony.
as they don't stop him from cross-platforming.
Well, that means that
I
he
mean,
won't
'cause-
be able to be in the MCU universe unless they make a deal. again.
Okay, so Venom is stuck with Sony and Spider-Man, or is
Yeah.
Venom part of the
Venom,
MCU?
they still own Venom
Okay.
at Sony. That's why they did the Venom movie.
Okay, no, I didn't realize.
Or
that,
it might have been Fox. I think it's Sony. Because Sony had bought Spider-Man.
Yes,
that was the only
that
one
one
they
I
had
know
bought.
about,
And
yeah.
so they kind of own the Spider-Man characters.
Well, everybody loves the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man
Well, no doubt.
because with great powers
I
come
personally
great
think I love
responsibility.
Spider-Man, but I mean, like when you look at how many movies each comic character has gotten over the last even 30 years,
Right,
Batman's had a lot of movies,
right.
but I don't think near as many as what
Iron Man.
Spider-Man.
I don't know, man. Iron Man has
Iron Man
has
had
covered
3,
a lot of
but
ground.
he was in Civil War, the Avengers, like all 4 Avengers. Yeah, he was probably in 8 or 9, 10 movies.
Yeah,
Including your little cameos.
right. Well, that's being in the movie.
Well, no doubt. Scientists want to make harming the environment a war crime.
What?
Good luck with that one.
Okay, that's like stupid on so many
Which
levels.
scientist? That's such a broad
No,
term.
which scientist?
I'm
a
a scientist,
I want to know,
you know.
which scientists we're talking about because I'd like to give them a good
Well,
solid.
I can actually pull
you
up
know,
the
cunt
article.
punt because that's a stupid thing to say. That it's a war crime.
Well, I mean,
are we
like,
declaring
hey, don't
war on
pollute the
planet
earth.
Okay, well,
But we got to figure out something to do with our trash. Then to where we're not.
okay, I'm like a firm believer in you make the law that if you suck water in from a river, the water that comes out of your plant has to be at least as clean, if not cleaner, than what you took in. That's your responsibility as a manufacturer, not to dump your stuff, waste products, back into the water.
Well, no doubt. And
You
I've always
find
said,
a way to reprocess, condense, whatever, back to the core chemicals that started your thing. And think there people could make money off of that. We generate new business, new inventions.
and I've always said here that I'm a neither and both kind of guy, y'all. We don't talk necessarily Democrat or Republican. We don't lean to one side or the other.
We're anti-stupid.
Yeah, ultimately it's two sides of the same coin, and I've always been an advocate of the fact that basically the Democrats grow the state and the Republicans grow the corporations.
And the federal debt these days. They used to be the party of fiscal responsibility.
Well, I mean, like,
Or at
shoot,
least-
everybody's had their hand in that. President Obama of the Democrats doubled the debt, and so I mean, every president and the last 4 presidents have all doubled the debt.
But Clinton left us with a surplus.
Well, because he had the internet bubble. So maybe the next president will get lucky with the marijuana bubble that's coming, right?
The marijuana bubble.
The
That's
medical
funny.
marijuana bubble.
Yeah.
Let's see. Little Caesars got some good press about hanging a sign on a door after catching a homeless person eating scraps from the dumpster, basically saying, "Hey, don't eat through the dumpster. Like, come in and get a free slice."
Right. Cool.
So good for Little Caesars or that owner of that little particular branch.
I was at a place called Crank and Boom. It was an ice cream shop. And you can buy these little cards, and they hang them up by the door. And if you don't have any money, and it's hot day and you want an ice cream, you pull the little card off, and it's
Sure.
got a kind of a pay it forward kind of deal.
Right.
And you walk up, you give them the card, and they hook you up with whatever flavor you'd like.
Well, and I've even seen the places that it's like I can't remember what they call it, but you can just go put like food in like a locker or something like that, and then hungry people can just like go and like, hey, there's an apple, I can eat it,
Cool.
and they make sure that it's safe and all that, blah blah blah.
Right. Well,
So-
we share food at work. Fruits.
Oh well, yeah, in your area, I can see
Right.
that.
Well, apples, bananas. I mean, if they're
Right.
if there's a plethora of that sort of thing, and not everyone likes them, we have a central place where you can just deposit them, and someone who would like said item can come by, pick it up, and have a little snack.
Which, by the way, top 10 word, plethora. I'd say that's definitely one of the best words, plethora. It just says so much. So we do the show here at Rosa Parks Center in Lafayette.
Yep.
If you are a toy collector, well, Barbies are debuting a new Rosa Parks doll as a
Yay.
series of honoring iconic women. So let's see who else they have in the line.
We like iconic women.
We do definitely love. I love a good, powerful woman.
We like statuesque women.
Well, it's just I like somebody who's kind of like self-actualized.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense to you. which it doesn't to 90% of people.
Yeah, well.
So they got the Rosa Parks. Let's see. It also includes Frida Kahlo.
Frida Kahlo,
I don't know her.
Mexican artist,
Okay.
or yeah.
Amelia Earhart
Yeah.
and Katherine Johnson.
Who?
Let's see. I don't know. It doesn't give a
Who's Catherine? Okay.
Katherine Johnson. Oh, it's got a
obvious-
link to her.
Ah,
I can see who Katherine Johnson is right quick. Barbie honors 100-year-old Katherine Johnson, the woman who inspired Hidden Figures.
what?
Okay,
Oh, that's
so
a nice doll face.
Katherine
she's got.
Johnson, legendary mathematician, who turned 100 years old. Let's see. She was. Oh, I think she's in that.
She
the
did
NASA.
she did the programming for the moon launch.
Okay.
Very cool.
Education.
See?
We're all about it.
We can learn something.
And that's what I use this stupid idiot box for, is to actually not be an idiot box. You know, try to read some interesting stuff, huh?
Educate yourself.
Right, with the digitization. Whoa, hard to say. Let's see.
Communication, bro.
I moved to, okay, I don't want to read that. The origin of all 32 NFL team names. No, we can skip that one. Oh, how about the big old craze about the Popeyes chicken
sandwich?
sandwiches? So apparently, it was trending online. They were comparing it to the Chick-fil-A sandwich. And everybody's like, yeah, right, what you talking about? So they went out and got them a Popeye sandwich, and you were probably, if you did that, you were met by a really long line, because apparently Popeyes were crazy busy for the last couple weeks.
It wasn't, when I heard about it, it wasn't that bad at the Popeyes in town, on my side of town.
Okay, you must have hit it at the right time.
Yeah,
Like
well,
7 o'clock, you're not in good shape.
Well,
there.
it was late.
Okay.
One of those.
Like if you're like any time after 8, you're usually good.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was slamming.
Dude, that chicken sandwich is the bomb.
Yeah.
I definitely would put it up there with the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is a really good chicken sandwich, and Wendy's like tweeted about it. They're really
Yeah.
good tweeters, and
Yeah.
they got funny tweets and roast people. But apparently Popeyes sold out nationwide.
A dude sued him. He
Really?
wanted $5,000 in compensation because he bent a rim, and he also wants humiliation because his friends are clowning him bad because he drove all over town trying to find a Popeye sandwich.
Damn. I saw the video, but I didn't know all that went down with it. 6 things you need to know if your mind can't stop racing when you go to bed.
Oh, I need
This is a
that
good
one.
one.
I need
Yeah,
that one.
We need this one. And let's see, it can remind me too, because...
The things you see.
Okay, first off, reduce your stress with the worry lists. So construct a worry exercise 3 hours before bedtime, which is basically writing a list of concerns with a pen and paper, not a computer. Write each one down, whether or not it's in your control, and if there's something you can do about it. The third column, write down the next step you can take each following day. Okay, so it's basically, I guess, just kind of planning out all your worries.
Okay.
Keep a gratitude journal. I've heard this one before.
Yeah, being thankful.
Being thankful, yeah, of what you have. So gratitude will evoke a positive state, and that's important. Because we fall asleep most easily when we feel safe, comfortable, and loved, according to research.
Yeah, well.
Let's see. Learn to stay present with meditation, which I do this to help me go to sleep. Stay present with meditation, mindfulness, and breathing techniques. Like I'll basically force myself to yawn, and it tells my brain that I'm tired. Kind of similar to on the way to work in the morning. Oftentimes you might catch me in traffic, like doing fake laughs and goofy faces and voices, because the fake laughs, your brain can't tell the difference. So it releases dopamine in your brain that basically makes you happy and wakes you up and puts you in a better mood. Because I'm definitely not the morning person, but you wouldn't think so at work, right?
Yeah. You definitely have to pass.
Well, this one might affect you. Don't go to bed early. So
Yeah, right.
people who have trouble falling asleep at night have a naturally delayed sleep phase. They're genetically predisposed to feel sleepy only after midnight, which I'm I think one of those people. Natural night owls should not go to bed too early, or they simply will lie in bed awake.
Yep.
That goes
100%.
without saying.
Down with that one.
Read all okay, I'll just read one chapter and fall asleep. Next thing you know, how many chapters? Don't look at screens close to bedtime. Turn off the screens.
But I keep so many books on this screen.
That's true. When you read on the screen, but I mean, it's saying that the screens
know.
aren't good for you.
I know.
You know.
Well, I also
like
do,
even to write your list on
I do
pen and paper.
the color reverse so that it's white text on black background, so there's less light being projected.
They are stimulating the TVs we're talking about, or screens, media, texting, etc. They are stimulating and can lead to bedtime procrastination,
Oh, sure, absolutely.
which in turn leads to stress. They're
Yeah, because you don't get enough sleep, so you're kind of stressed out because you feel like crap,
Well-
and then you gotta.
because you're like, oh, I've got so much to do, you know, or I've got so much work to think about, or I gotta wake up so early in the morning that I just need to chill for a second and relax and turn down.
Okay.
You know, and so you make an excuse to like, I need to stay up a couple hours just to calm myself down. You know, which I think is
gotcha.
necessary
I
sometimes.
got you. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah.
Well, that's for me. I've kind of analyzed it myself. You know, I mean, because you know, when you're into the psychology thing, you gotta
you gotta figure
figure out why
your
you're so
ish
crazy.
out, right?
And don't do anything stressful right before bed. So, like for instance, if I'm up like doing work for work, you know, at home, then basically I have to get at least 1 hour chill time or something like that before I can, you know, go to sleep.
Oh yeah, that sounds totally.
least.
That sounds totally reasonable.
Or like if I even like am hanging out at somebody's house and I'm staying there really late, you know, like on the weekends or during the summertime, you know,
Right.
if I'm staying up really late and I don't get home till like 3 o'clock, well, guess what? I'm not going to bed at least until 4 because I can't get home from
Yeah.
somewhere and then just go right to sleep.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to.
Unless it's right from work.
Unwind, decompress. Oh no,
That's the
Yeah,
only one I can go
after
straight
work,
to sleep.
Go home, lay down, take a nap.
Let's see. Meet the special interest keeping marijuana criminalized. Do we want to meet them?
Not really. Let me guess. It's the prison industrial complex.
Well, I mean, I could look at the article and get more details. A new 3D map of the Milky
We'll
Way
just blame who the hell ever we want.
flaunts our galaxy's warped shape.
Oh,
okay.
good.
Yeah.
Groovy, wavy, spirally armed galaxy. I'm down with that.
Oh man, what a tough break. This guy, a father, was jailed 82 days after some honey he had bought from the store was mistaken for liquid meth.
Oh, I heard about that.
He was from Jamaica,
Right.
and this was days after Christmas, bringing home some honey,
Bringing home the honey.
and apparently he was maybe stereo.
Yeah. Where liquid meth? I've never heard.
I've never
of such,
heard of that either.
I mean,
but
it's not
with
even,
the vapes and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised. You ever
That's
heard
kinda
Bill
like
Cooper?
the Cheech and Chong movie where the weed was sprayed into the fiberglass thing
Right.
on the van?
Well, they could do
and
that
then the
actually.
exhaust caught fire and everybody
Dude,
got
they've
baked.
like built houses and stuff out of like hemp,
Hemp,
and
yeah.
the one, you know, technically marijuana. Have you ever heard Bill Cooper?
Doesn't ring a
He's
bell.
an author and like spoken stuff, but it is some interesting stuff, like how the elite keeps you sheepled. It's a good video. Let's see, climate apartheid is imminent. Only the rich will survive. The UN predicts climate change will push 120 million people into poverty by 2030. Okay, let's see what we got here. You
Okay,
paid.
I got about 10 good years left, so
Let's see. The UN report predicts that global poor won't be able to escape the worst of climate crisis.
well, no kidding.
Because, you know, we've got a weather control machine now. And just
where do
wait till the people see what we do with it.
What are the poor?
They're
where
gonna
do they
bow
live?
down
they
to
live
us.
in the worst possible place because it's the cheapest possible
When
place.
are we gonna wake up?
Never.
When are we gonna wake up and start a revolution? Start a revolution. I don't know.
Revolutions.
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 I'm too busy like tweeting, you know, and checking my Instagram, and I don't have any of those, but I'm just joking. Let's see. So climate apartheid. Yeah, this is.
No, but it's true. I mean, only the affluent will be able to afford to live in safer, climatologically safer environments than the poor.
So,
the poor will continue to be congregated in the places they are now, the least desirable places.
So, which of course the UN definitely wants to do a lot of depopulation stuff, which is why I think that a lot of like the LGBT stuff is kind of a UN movement partially for population control and
You think?
yeah, less babies, and the state's control of your picking. Eventually, that's where it's going. Is they want control over like births and stuff. So, anyways, 120 million people will be pushed into poverty by 2030 climate change. And this is coming from a UN Human Rights Council report.
Right.
Let's see. The report describes how the poorest 3.5 billion people in the world are responsible for 10% of the world's gas emissions, while the richest 10% are responsible for half.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this world works. It was almost like we got
them that's on top gets, them that's on the bottom gets on.
Yeah, and where are we on the chart? I don't know. Let's see, 370 tons of debris removed from Crucial City Canal in New Orleans.
Wow.
370 tons.
That's a lot of debris.
Apparently, they have a lot in the river here in Lafayette that causes a lot of flooding over there.
The Vermilion?
Vermilion, yeah. I don't know why I was having a brain fart there.
Sometimes they just don't roll off the tongue.
Right. Well, all right.
Oh, God. Matthew McConaughey's in the news again?
Matthew McConaughey is in the news again, which I'll kind of segue with that. On Saturday, we got LSU playing the University of Texas in their first game against a real team. Because they just kind of played a scrub team last week, just as a warm-up, right?
Is this football or basketball?
This isn't football. They opened the season,
Okay.
Pretty much.
Right.
So
Wasn't quite sure.
So they're going to Austin and the University of Texas. And it's been a long time since they played.
Right.
They're both A&M schools. But, oh man.
But. He said but.
At the University of Texas, I would be trying to take a film class over there because, all right, Matthew McConaughey is going to be teaching that class at the University of Texas.
Cool.
Yeah. So that filled up just like that.
Right.
They're going to have to do that in an auditorium.
And
they'll probably put 500 people in the class.
Peter Weller is a professor.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Yeah, and
Buckaroo Banzai.
a lot of them, of like the former actors, even like James Corville, I think was an LSU professor. While he was a politician, pretty much.
Brian May.
A lot of people.
He's an
And
astrophysicist.
they go to the good schools, and ultimately the university helps them with their funding and grants.
No, you got to hustle your own money.
Well, you do have to hustle.
You have to hustle
Yeah.
your own money.
But they
And
have the
university
people that
takes
can
a
help you
chunk.
hustle money because a scientist
Networking,
isn't
right.
inspired by money. you know.
Networking is important.
No doubt. See, White House considers new projects seeking links between mental health and violent. Dang, I have to click. Violent behavior. Oh, duh. That's kind of a duh. Why would they spend money on that? Which, speaking of spending money, I heard this one on the way. That how the NFL season's back and they're doing the concussion stuff.
Right.
Wondering, and that makes sense. Of course, people jamming, hitting their heads together, and there's some hard hits.
Yeah, you get
Leads
knocked
to
down by a
concussions.
300-pound man.
You do have a helmet. Well, even kids playing. Little league football or high school, whatever. But there's a new study because we got to have equality and get a woman study going. And so they are studying the effects of women hitting their head on the soccer balls.
Right.
And apparently how they did a study and I guess there was more concussions in girls soccer than there was in men's football.
Why does that not surprise me? I mean, have you ever been hit in the head with a ball? Now imagine meeting a fast-moving
But
ball.
you're coming and trying to hit the head, but I could understand, hitting your head with anything is probably not
your
great.
brain's going to slosh around on
Even
the
though it's a
inside.
ball of air. It's like leather with air inside of it.
But it's hard.
It is
I mean, not hard like a.
So
a
what do they
bowling
do?
ball.
Do you play soccer with a helmet? Do you play
Well,
with
stop
a?
playing soccer. Soccer sucks.
Stop playing all sports.
Yeah,
Sports are done.
let's play Settlers of Catan or whatever those card games those little kids are playing these days.
10 things married men wish they'd known on their wedding day.
Which wedding?
I don't know. Let's see if this is a positive or a funny one.
Let's hope it's positively funny.
It's kind of cheesy. Let's see. Bring fresh socks.
Okay.
Take care of your body because of all the pictures and blah, blah, blah. Exercise inherent selfishness.
Inherent selfishness? What the fudge?
There are a lot of friends and family there. They're all going to have opinions what you should do, blah, 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 blah. It's your wedding day.
Oh, you
so-
do you, boo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So beware of the booze. Don't get too wasted.
Don't get hammered.
Consider the expense. Let's see. No groom man, no cry.
What?
Don't start crying. That might seem like some machismo talking, but honestly, once you start crying, it is really difficult to stop. Then it becomes a blubbering mess. Phones away. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Let somebody hire somebody to take pictures. Let's see. Write your speech wisely or not at all. Don't find religion.
Hallelujah.
Embrace certainty. Embrace certainty. Like,
Okay.
so, like, hey, well, it's going to work out.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, that's
Good.
pretty positive.
Let's see. Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, everybody's down on Dave Chappelle because he's being politically incorrect.
Yeah, you can't
He's
say
making fun
stuff.
of people that you can't make fun of anymore.
You can't be a comedian in politically correct culture.
You
Because you're
can't.
offending me.
Right, and then they accuse him of being retrogressive.
Well, apparently he
something.
made
He's,
fun
30
of trans people in the special, and it was really funny. And the LGBT group is just like they're butthurt about it.
People got no sense of humor anymore.
The funniest town in all 50 states. I like funny towns.
Yeah.
I can get some of
Truth or
those going.
consequences?
Let's see, Alabama, and I guess it goes alphabetical order here. We got Screamer, Alabama.
Okay.
Unalaska, Alaska. Okay. Y, Arizona.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, Smackover, Arkansas. Let's see, it's a smack over the creek, according to the state's website. Rough and Ready, California.
Oh, riding dirty.
Yeah. No Name, Colorado. Currently, fewer than 200 people live there. Let's see. Hazardville, Connecticut. Corner Ketch, Delaware. Of course, they'd have a lame one.
Well, Ketch is a ship.
Okay. Two Egg, Florida. Got its name during the Great Depression. Let's see. Climax, Georgia.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
get there.
Volcano, Hawaii.
That makes sense.
Slick Poo, Idaho. Slick Poo.
Yes, I'm sorry. That is middle school.
I was named after a Catholic missionary landowner, Josiah Slick Poo. Which how we got names and stuff back then, like Rosenblum and I don't know, Brown and okay. Sandwich, Illinois. Santa Claus, Indiana.
Been to Santa Claus, Indiana.
Okay.
It's got a nice Christmas thing going on.
What Cheer, Iowa.
What cheer?
What Cheer.
Okay.
Former coal mining town. Gas, Kansas. You just passed gas.
Exactly.
Gas can. Get gas. The jokes write themselves. Bug Tussle, Kentucky.
Been to Bug Tussle.
You've been to Bug Tussle
Been to
before.
Bug Tussle.
I'm wondering. Oh, You Need Us, Louisiana.
Have not been to Unitas. Have you been to Unitas?
I have not been to You Need Us. Let's see.
We need to like do a road trip and then video it and then broadcast.
I've
a
never heard
video
of You Need Us. Lake Superior Piling Company established a settlement model farms here in 1920, bring prosperity to the corner of rural Louisiana. Company's landowners tweaked their corporate slogan, You Need Us, into the town's name, and apparently the feeling was mutual. Residents allegedly founded another model farm community nearby and dubbed it We Need You.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Burnt Porcupine, Maine. Boring, Maryland.
I imagine, yeah.
Belchertown, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I've been.
Hell, Michigan. Let's see. Nimrod, Minnesota.
Man, well, somebody's got to be a Nimrod.
Hot Coffee, Mississippi. Tightwad, Missouri. Prairie, Montana. Magnet, Nebraska. Jigs, Nevada.
And another sandwich.
Sandwich, New Hampshire. Love Ladies, New Jersey. Candy Kitchen, New Mexico. Never Sink, New York.
Well.
Why not North Carolina?
Why not?
Why not?
We said why Arizona, so why not North Carolina?
Cannonball, North Carolina. Knock 'em Stiff, Ohio. Gene Autry, Oklahoma. Zigzag, Oregon.
Hey, named after the rolling paper.
All right.
There you go, Baba.
Let's see. What did I do? Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
There the Amish were. Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
That's probably close to intercourse. There's
Ketchup
gotta be
Town.
a wound socket somewhere.
We got Ketchup Town in South Carolina. Mud Butt in South Dakota. Mud Butt.
It's Butte, but
Butte. Mud Butte.
Yeah. Mud
Okay.
butt, much funnier.
Difficult, Tennessee. Ding
Yeah.
Dong, Texas. Mexican Hat, Utah. Why don't they just call it pinata? Oh, wait, no, not pinata, sombrero. Satan's Kingdom, Vermont.
Wow.
Dang.
I used to live in Battle, Kentucky.
Really?
Battle. Because the road that it was on led to a Civil War battle. And as the troops were marching, they got attacked, and there was another battle before the Battle of Perryville.
Civil War stories are always fun.
So when you live in Battle,
Battle.
and then when the government takes your post office away, and then you end up having an address in Macville. That sucks.
We've got a lot of those places in Louisiana as well. It's all along the Mason-Dixon line, right? Which, speaking of which, they got Bump Ass, Virginia. Hump Tulips, Washington.
Okay.
Lick Fork,
Lick Fork.
West Virginia. Bosstown, Wisconsin. Chugwater, Wyoming.
They got Big Bone Lick in Kentucky.
Big Bone Lick.
And they got a state park there. It's called Big Bone Lick State Park.
Let's see. The Surgeon General says this ain't your mother's marijuana.
What?
Basically, since 30 states have legalized marijuana, they're just saying like, "Hey, this isn't the marijuana like the old generation." grew
Oh,
up with,
telling
baby
the old
boomers.
folks that
The baby
they're not
boomers,
ready
right.
for the dank swag or whatever. The hippity hoppity.
The baby
kids
boomer
call it.
generation ain't ready. First look at Death and Bill and Ted's Face the Music revealed. Okay, so they are filming a lot of that over in Slidell, I know. And
Really?
actually, a friend of mine I went to high school with is her mom is plays Keanu Reeves or Ted in the movie's wife, which is really cool.
That's cool.
The gay gene does not exist, apparently, according to this study. Let's see what we have got here. It's just, I think, like.
But there is a left-handed gene.
Yeah, so let's see. Same sexual behavior, very polygenic. Okay, yeah, here we go. Huge study shows that there's no correlation with mental illness. Gay gene doesn't exist. Huge new study does show correlation with mental illness. But, I mean, there's other reasons for that. Having depression, anxiety, blah, 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 blah. First vapor dead after mysterious lung disease. 193 possible cases of illness on the CDC. Duh. Scientists confirm that dogs can sense bad people.
No kidding. For true?
Yeah, I definitely realized that, you know. Kathleen Blanco, actually, we just lost our former governor not too long ago. She actually turned to medical marijuana at the end of her life, and for her, it was a game changer. Awesome.
Good for her.
Let's see. Harry Potter removed from Tennessee Catholic School Library because the reader could conjure spells.
No, for God's sake.
Demons. Didn't know if y'all'd be interested, which we still got a couple minutes, don't we? I believe so. World War II Museum has half price for Louisiana residents in September.
Where's this World War II museum?
It's
Is
in
this
New
one
Orleans.
in New Orleans? Okay.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. You know, as far as like getting like if you enjoy the good history lesson and seeing some of the artifacts and like they have like presentation that I think like Tom Hanks does on video kind of thing, and it shows a bunch of it's like an IMAX kind of screens and shows
Cool.
like it puts you in the war basically. I had a theory that about being but study proving definitively the fire that did not bring down World Trade Center Tower 7. And they just released it a couple days ago.
And what did they blame it on?
Well, what do you know? The page doesn't want to work. Oh, here we go. So, to be released tomorrow, and that was 3 days ago. So, professors and chair of the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Alaska will be releasing a new study that did not fall due to fire. Well, we've heard this for a while.
Let me guess, explosives.
They'll be hushed.
Yeah.
Hush, hush. Stop trying to silence Dave Chappelle. We know that. Science says silence is more important to our brains than we think. Okay.
Oh, it's definitely
A
important.
transracial man, born white, says he feels Filipino. So he wants to basically identify as a Filipino.
Okay.
I think we have about 10 more seconds. It's about that time. We got some other stuff I can save for next week.
Yeah.
Go your football team that you like.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, and yeah,
Deuces.
enjoy the weekend.
We're out of
Mo,
here.
Peace.
Nate.
We did it.